ladies and gentlemen. We are here today. We're ready to rip, boy. Hold on, give me my lights. Oh, my. Are we ready to rip or not, ladies and gentlemen? Look at us. Look at us glowing in the lights. We do have the white light on tonight. We're not as yellowy. But we got two sides to the story. We got two sides to it tonight. More than just one person on the camera. Hold on, the ready to rip's just too damn. Oh, I'm offending white people with every word out of my mouth. That's what's happening there with that rap song. They hate it when a white boy can do it. They hate it. They hate it, ladies and gentlemen. They hate it. Chaz, what is your underdog picks for the weekend? I do not know. I haven't even looked. Is there... We could get into it. We'll get into it. We do have a guest tonight, though. He is going to be competing with the World of Outlaws this evening or this weekend at the I-55 Federated Auto Parts Speedway. His name is Brad Bowden, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. He's on the screen right there. Oh, my God. Let's put up his little graphic. He's got two cars, ladies and gentlemen. He drives them all, and you actually win. Now, people are like, who is Brad Bowden? Is he new? Why is Chaz telling me about this guy? You haven't raced, really, in your entire life, I guess. No one knows that you just, you've been driving sprint cars. No one knows. It's in the South. So, I mean, we were looking at his tail tank here that he's going to be having. We did have some news before we got to Brad, though. The Logan Julian car and or Logan Julian driver and the Gibbsville Cheese 73 have parted. That was posted today 2 hours ago. So Julian, which some people may have saw in our little content that we did, the Aussie wrenched vehicle, the 73 car. Scotty Thill drove this car last year. Kind of a partnership developed between the Julians and Aussie, and obviously, based on the information, that partnership has ended. So the 73, which I believe is a race car that could contend for outlaw wins, high-limit wins up front. I mean, it has to be the perfect night. It has to be a really good driver. I mean, there has to be some things go right to win these races. That's for anybody, basically. But I think this 73 is a very top-notch race car, and it'll be interesting to see who goes into it next. The other news that was did you have something to say? From my understanding, this was one of these old school kind of partnership deals. You know how I think Jeremy Elliott said it, like renting cars have been going on forever. It used to be with motors or parts or chassis. Back in the day, a good crew chief with an okay driver and a good driver with an okay crew chief. Maybe they owned one guy owned good motors, one guy owned good chassis, and they came together, and that's how they started a team. And once again, I made the same mistake as I did with the Tony Stewart situation where I had you muted the entire time. So you're in Stewart categories. You're just now here. Good thing we know that the information before was actually covered. So your wife has nothing to worry about. She didn't even hear you speak. You are safe. But from my understanding, that's what the situation here was it was kind of like a chassis motor coming together. They're both from Wisconsin. The kid wanted to get out there on the road, and that's why this partnership came together. But it seems like one way or another, they've departed. Seems like nice in the post, but you never know in today's world, do you, Brad?
You don't know. Yeah, you never know.
But from my understanding, I think the motors are Aussies. The chassis it's a mix. It's a mix of probably a bunch of stuff that I can't even really speak on. But that's what that was.
And so was the Aussie guy, was he the cheese sponsor?
No, he knows the cheese sponsor, but they've had a big partnership for years. But he's an old school guy, man. I think he's really good. I think Thill shined a couple times. I don't know how good Thill is, but to even, I just think
with a 73 car.
Yeah, and to even show up at an outlaw race, it don't matter how good you are. That car has to be on point. So that's my reasoning that I think that this car is a top, a capable car is because it's shown capability in the past to run with the best. And so I think it's a good car. Crew chief obviously has time with it and knows what to do. But that's the news there. And then your best friend had some news come out today, Brad, Landon Crawley.
Landon Crawley, yeah.
Landon Crawley has once again, as you heard most people report, departed from the 17 GP car. Be interesting to see who they put in their vehicle. And Landon Crawley has partnered up with Johnny Herrera. So Johnny Herrera Racing, the 45X that got rid or departed with Jace, what is it, Jake Pace or whatever?
Chase Park.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the name before, but every time I watched him, he didn't perform, so I forgot about him pretty easily. But yeah, Jace Park was in this car previously, and now it's Landon Crawley. That'll be an interesting pairing. Of course, Herrera being a little bit from the South in his later racing careers. Of it, or later in his racing career, and then obviously Crawley being from the same region and area, so that could be an interesting partnership. That car showed some speed.
I think it'll be a good pair. I think it will be.
And then, of course, the headlining news of the week, out of everything, and that is you going to I-55 in the 7C car. People need to be worried about this, do they not, Brad? I mean, this is something, if they're not ready, I mean, David Gravel slips.
I mean, I would love to be able to confidently say that, but I am a realist, and I understand what we're getting into this weekend, and
But there's pictures on your Facebook of you winning, Brad. This isn't like.
Well, yes, I understand that, but this is going to be.
You
have
totally
a
big K&N sign next to you. That's a Fortune 500 company. They believe you're a winner. Look how big that sign is.
This is just going to be a whole different level. And it just so happens that nothing else in the country is racing. Everybody's coming to Peevely. They're coming from Pennsylvania. They're coming from Ohio. They're coming from Knoxville. So, it's going to be an outlaw show, and then take that, triple that, put it on some extra steroids. So it's going to be an insane weekend.
I was trying to get to race cars, and the marriage photos kept coming up, so I could show the full race car. But I mean, what is this car? Who is this car? What do y'all got going on? What is the goals then? Obviously, you're not looking to win the damn race, but what are you? Or you're looking to win the race, obviously. I think. You're thinking maybe you could hit it real good one of the nights and get into a dash maybe and run top 10. I feel like for it seems like at least your expectations are top 10 or something. That would be like a dream come true to be able to say that.
I mean, yeah, top 10 would be unbelievable. But I mean, I think realistically, the goal for us is, put it in the show. If you make it in the show, that'd be a win for us. But it's going to be very difficult. My first time ever going to Peevely. Probably my 7th total 410 race. So, I mean, it's going to be a tall task to put it in the show, and I understand that, but if I don't go there, then you don't know. So I just want to take your shot at it. This is a car out of Missouri, right out of.
You can calm down with all your so's and ums.
Sorry.
You don't have to think all proper. You can just say,
I keep flashing up to the screen.
You can say, we don't have Charlie Garrett's. We don't have.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we don't have that. I mean, it's a Bowden engine. He's a guy out of Missouri. The things, they run really nice for what they are.
But how do you know what's nice? That's the issue. I mean, once again, limited 410 experience. How do you know what's nice? Do they just is it dyno sheets? I mean, I ain't heard Baldwin really doing anything out there.
Yeah, I mean, we put it on the dyno. They took it up to Engler a couple weeks ago, and it put out some decent numbers. They got it better, and so I mean, it's still going to be a little under horsepower. That's just the reality of it. So, we're very low budget.
Now, what is under horsepower? Because, I mean, I ain't going to say the numbers, but a particular team with an old man and a driver that just split, he told me some numbers one day in the past, like 20 years ago. He said, I'm just kidding, but he said 980 is what those nice Kisslers are doing.
Yeah, we're not close to 980. So,
on the engine dyno, though, 980 on the engine.
Yes, I mean, I guess so. We put it on the dyno, and it put out about 842. So
that's pretty good.
It's just one of them things. you
And
hope the track
that was
can.
the chassis dyno at Engler's, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so, it put out some pretty decent numbers. And, a lot of the guys that have the 980 or without, they spend most of their time detuning them anyways. But the problem is qualifying. That's when you pretty much get all the horsepower of it. And, qualifying is so massive in outlaw and high limit and all of those deals. You don't qualify good, your night, it's a long night. So, it's an uphill battle for us, but we don't have a big budget. But my buddy Brian Bell, he's coming to crew chief for me, so he's come and helped me
Is that the
last
guy
year.
who went out of the park and crashed through
Yeah,
the fence at
yeah, yeah.
Riverside?
He's the
Oh my God.
he's the he's the owner of FSR Radiators.
Oh God, but he's the one who went through what they call it. What was the good name for it? Chicken wire? Tore the
Oh,
chicken
yeah,
wire
yeah,
down, the
yeah.
chicken
There's been
fence.
all kind of stuff said about that fence.
Because
It's just,
that's where
it's just
you race, right? You actually made the
right.
show at that high
That's where
limit.
I grew up.
You got the
Racing.
interview. Was it the World of Outlaws or High Limit where you got the interview? I
That was
forgot.
Outlaws at Riverside that
And you
night. Yeah,
finished fourth or something in a heat,
finished fourth in the heat. Yeah,
and that locked you into the main. And
right.
so they interviewed you.
Donnie Shots finished fifth in the heat. I'm just
So
saying.
you out? We're looking at a guy. Get this in y'all's mind, ladies and gentlemen. Get this in y'all's mind. This guy sitting on a couch outran. Maybe it didn't happen all the time. This is my point, though. This is my point. I mean, maybe you didn't do it all the time, but this man sitting on the couch drinking piss Miller Lite has outran a 10-time World of Outlaws champion.
For 8 laps, I was able to hold him off.
And you didn't just hold him off. I think you pulled away from him there at the end.
Yeah, we did. He wasn't all over me. Yeah, it was a pretty nice little heat race run
Right.
there.
So I mean, you did something, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
so it fell into our laps that night. All the cards kind of lined out good for us. My brother-in-law was actually supposed to be on the pole of that heat race, and he had the throttle stick, so he passed a pace car and got disqualified. So that moved us up another row, and so it all just worked out to our favor that night, and made the show in my first attempt. So yeah, that was a really cool moment for sure.
yeah, yeah. I would have thought Landon would have did better there. I mean, hell, if you was in the 7S, imagine what you could have done.
Well, I mean, also when we went to the Riverside, I've heard people talk about this all the time.
Wait, is this car? Oh, it's 7C. Sorry, almost. I thought I made it.
I hear people talk all the time about when Outlaws or High Limit come to their home tracks. The tracks are never like they are on a weekly basis.
Okay.
That's the way it was for us. We showed up there, and it was completely different than anything you would get on a Saturday night show. It was pretty much getting slick and qualifying. Usually that thing, it'll be pretty fast in the heat races. It'll get a big curb, and you can race on it. But I mean, the Outlaws told the track, we want a good qualifying track. And so they got a pretty decent qualifying track, but the racetrack sucks the rest of the night because of that. Like, Riverside is just a way. It has to be worked a certain way, and you'll get the best track. You can't go in there and trying to predict, like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do this. Just let them prepare the track. Don't mess with them, and it'll be good.
Do you think that the Outlaws wanted that route because of the safety concerns with the fence? And why would they want a big curb up there on the wall? I mean, that's like A plus B equals C.
I don't think it was that.
I'm just saying, if you have a big curb on the wall, you could easily send the car out the track if the fence don't hold
I think
up.
a lot of it was the week before that we had the big ASCS show over there, and the track was slimy early on. We had to do a couple hot lap sessions, and it was still a little slimy in qualifying. And so that was kind of getting everybody kind of been out of shape a little bit. I don't think they wanted that for that show, for it to be slimy.
Who won that race?
Hagar won.
Okay.
Yeah, Derek Hagar won all those. I think he won both nights, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you're saying that scared people into saying, let's be conservative on the watering.
Yeah, I think that's what led to a lot.
Now, was that main event with that ASCS show good?
They were both really good. Yeah,
just the heat racing was a little slimy, and
it was a little slimy. And like the top would take off better than the bottom, things like that.
But come a main time, it was
really good. Yeah,
well, and see, that's the problem, these fucking sprint car bitches, not y'all up in the South, but the ones up north, the ones running this industry, PA and Iowa and the big, Ohio, whatever. They want these tracks to be so perfect and proper. And you hear the Tony Stewart said it the other day, I don't know if there's a track in the country that can work the track, let it go, and not have to touch it again for the rest of the
Yeah.
night.
Right.
And with the degree, like he was talking, and I've always kind of said this, is how much these cars horsepowers are, and they're digging into the track, they're eating the tracks up quicker than they ever have, especially when you got 900 out there,
Yeah.
and it's an outlaw event, and there's 20 cars with premium horsepower and hooked up better than all the other ones. It's almost impossible to keep the track good. But
You know,
it seems like if you don't want to have to work it, you almost have to start with a qualifying track that's kind of slimy, and then a heat race that has one or two grooves maybe worked in, and then you don't. Yeah, then by A main you got a good track, and you never had to work it.
yeah. I think some of it too is like a lot of these when the high limits and the outlaws come to town, you might have one support class on those nights. When your regular weekly race, when you prepare that track, you're preparing the track to have five total classes, probably five or six
Mm.
classes. So when the outlaws and high limits come in, you can't prepare it the same. And so just like it was one of them cotton bowls or one of them tracks that took rubber that you were in Texas with. Their weekly racing
KSP.
has five or six classes. That's the way they prep the track. And then you have, I know the wind and stuff was playing a factor, but then you have sprint cars only. And so you try to prep the track different and you just hope that you get it right. Like you're basically just taking a guess at it because it's
Right,
not what
and
you
then
do.
Saturday it didn't even touch slick really until like the
Right.
last
It's just
5 laps of the main
it's
because
not what you do every single weekend. And so you're just hoping that you get it right because it's just not something you're used to doing week in and week out.
do you think the Outlaws in high limit, honestly though, there's a side angle to where they want the qualifying track to be pretty premium conditions because that's where it solidifies their guys being up front in the heat races because they know that their people are trained to qualify and they have the equipment and the advantages in every other aspect. Whereas if you have a little bit of a slimy, a little bit of a rough qualifying track, those differences kind of go away. A local guy could maybe have a better chance. I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
they do. I feel like they do aim for like perfect qualifying conditions.
I feel like the best teams will figure it out regardless. I kind of feel like they want the good qualifying track because that's kind of like a big part of the show. That's when you have one car out there, you can hear that horsepower, you
Yeah.
can watch that one car and focus on it. You get to hear how the sounds, and it's just something else gets you hooked on it. So I feel like they want that to be a really special part of the show when it's just showing the one
I
person.
feel like you just answered that more mature than anyone. There's some people out there that hate qualifying. High limit, and some of them will put two cars out there. I feel like somebody like you that ain't been ego stroked your whole life like the dumbasses in PA and California. I feel like you appreciate those type. I I feel like you appreciate those type. Like I could imagine the first time you went out to qualify for a high limit or outlaw event, it was like it was a surreal moment just to do
Yeah,
that, to know
yeah.
that you were that guy.
Right. Yeah. So it's like that's the moment where everybody is watching you. They can hear your car, how you're working the throttle, and those things that you can't hear when there's 10 cars on the racetrack. You can hear the guy who's driving in way deeper than somebody else is. It's just a cool experience. If you've never seen it, it's something that you have to go watch when it's single car qualifying, on a quarter-mile racetrack.
Well, I mean, the only thing closer to that, I guess, that I could think of how it would feel would be when I was when I lost my first 100 pounds and hot lap that modified.
Yeah,
Uh,
made really badass laps. Your first
Hey
time
man,
ever in
hey
a
man.
car.
Yeah, well, yeah. They said he only because they could
That's
hear me turning the
the
motor with
the
the car.
announcers are the funniest part. They're like, "Whoa, look at Chaz. He's like almost quick time tonight." They're like
Yeah.
unbelievable. They couldn't believe what was
Yeah, and
happening
then
out
it
there.
was like 5 lap at begin. It was funny because in the beginning they were all like talking their shit and all that, and then like 3 laps in, they're like, "Oh fuck, he's looking better than
I
me
think
right
I think it was like
now."
maybe the second lap. Though they're going through the corner. Somebody in the background says, "That's really good."
Yeah, and then the one dude was like, "He's using the motor to turn. He's using like he was shocked." Like, because they were like, I did the R Factor shit with Larson and
Yeah,
everybody. This is why Larson says, I'm a great race or good. He literally said I'm a good race car
yeah.
driver to David Grohl. That's still I want that on my gravestone. I mean, think about that. That's a pretty damn high,
Oh yeah.
praise from Kyle out of all the fucking idiots of the world.
Well, I mean,
The
you've
Panda
also
Express himself said that to me. That's
I
a
don't
great
I
nickname.
see to see people talk about you and stuff, but then I don't think they ever watched your modified races. That one race you showed up in Central Arizona, started like 24th and went to 11th or something like
My
that.
first race ever in my life,
Yeah, like
technically.
you didn't do the heat race or something. You started in the back and like went to 11th. You did a little mini mod and damn near won. I was
Yeah,
like,
third
without
with a
even
hole in my
racing.
leg. With a hole in
Yeah,
my leg.
like never raced. Not I hardly raced anything. Just didn't have the big block. Like you had this was a 20-year-old car or something,
Yeah, that we
and were
literally pulled out of the woods. There's video
yeah
evidence on the
making
channel.
shows and stuff like that. They just say, "Oh, Chad doesn't know what he's talking about. He's never raced a car," but they have no idea like
Yeah,
what
it's
you actually have
it,
raced
it
cars
is
before.
pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy. I don't even know what we were talking about, but that's a good subject. You've been watching the Chaz for a minute. I mean, you have.
I was like, I think the very first video that caught my attention was the Dale Earnhardt Talladega one because you said, and guess what? You said something like, "Guess what? Dale Earnhardt made $47,000, bitch."
That's back when I had the suit on. That's
Yeah,
back when I had the suit on,
when you had the
bro.
suits on
Dude,
all the
that was
time.
2017. So you've been watching me for almost 10 years. That's creepy. That's creepy if you think about it. That was like so you were around, but and see, this is the interesting part about the origins of me and Kyle's issues. Is I think you were around when I wasn't even talking about Kyle, and then he all of a sudden just
Yeah,
popped up and started talking shit on my channel. Like seriously, that's what happened. Like I wasn't talking about Kyle Larson at all. I was just talking about how dirt racers are
yeah,
so good and these, preppy rich kid stock car guys.
yeah.
I had all these views and shit. And Kyle came into one video and was like, "Your page is a fucking joke," or "I love all these guys are so good and you don't know what you're talking about." He came in there defending his NASCAR daddies.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "All right, bitch, you want to talk? Hey, you're a problem too. I just wasn't saying anything." But
Yeah, it's very entertaining. So yeah.
I'm just saying, Larson provoked me. Just like, hey, even Caitlyn did. I know you probably saw that video that went around, but
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, still, hey, Caitlyn Larson would have been a thought in my fucking head if she didn't run up in my face on 2 occasions talking shit.
It makes me laugh though to think about her running up to you in the pits.
Dude, on the way to victory lane. I'm standing there with Tanner Holmes' mom and Sean and everybody. We're watching the race, and that fucking banner shit happens, and I throw my shit. I go up to Sammy. I'm like, what the fuck? And they win the race. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? And then all of a
Uh,
sudden I feel a tap on the fucking shoulder, bro. Whip around right in the face. We got it done. Fist bump. And I'm just like, I did it. I fist bumped. I don't know why I did.
uh,
But when I did, I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, what is going on? I was like mind blown in that
uh,
moment. It was bad, man. It wasn't cool.
but yeah, I've been watching for quite a long time. It's like entertaining, you know.
Well, and then so we're talking about Southern racers a little bit, and um, I was just saying I think you appreciate it because I don't think the South gets any fucking attention.
No,
So you appreciate those moments of getting on the track and time trialing and getting your name called, going to the races. You know, Broke Joe probably thinks it's crazy. This guy's just going to make the show. What the fuck? And he's a
I know.
bum. What the
Yeah,
hell?
I
This
know.
is I can hear Joe in my head right now saying,
Yeah, I
"This
know
is
because
the problem with
I
the
remember
sport,
you.
Chaz."
I remember you mentioning something to him about Justin Sanders taking an outlaw ride. I don't remember which ride it was, but he was like, "Well, what's the equipment like? What's the big?" You were talking about, well, if you get the opportunity, you take the opportunity. Like that's kind of where I'm at with my racing career right now. Is like I got like Peanut. His name is Peanut Campbell. The 7C car. Um,
You know what
they
really
call
hurts Justin though? I think it's his location.
California up
If
there.
Justin was doing like vinyl graphics in Missouri, like he could get to every big race. He could work
Yeah.
Monday through Friday and pretty much make it, or Monday through Thursday and
Which
make every big national sprint car race there is. I think that's also the bigger issue.
which Justin's deal, like he's got a really good ride on the West Coast. So, like I understand it. But for me, like any car, anytime, like I'll show up, I'll race anywhere in any equipment. Like it don't have to be the best of the best. I'll show up and I'll do it. Peanut called me up last year. We, I I went and I did it, and we've had some pretty good runs. We've run Farmington Empire Speedway a couple times. I led one of the features till about 3 or 4 laps ago, and I hit a lap car. But we made the Outlaw show. I ran 4th at the Queen's Royal. This is their big race at Farmington. So I showed up, took a flyer on it, and it's worked out pretty well. Like we've been pretty fast. And
who was all at that race? Because that's like 20 grand to win, ain't it, or something?
It's like 7 grand now.
7 grand. Okay, it's dropped because it was 20, I think, like a few years ago. It was trying to be big.
It's 7 grand, but I mean, Joe B. Miller was there, T-Mez was there. It has some good cars there, and it was my first 410 race ever. Was the Queen's Royal, and it was an opportunity, and I wasn't going to turn it down. And it's worked out pretty decently. We've only got about 5 or 6 races under our belt, but I mean, I feel like we can have some pretty good runs. A lot of things like this weekend at the Outlaw Show. Is it going to be like a lot of learning for us, because in a couple months there's a IRA show that comes to Peebly in like June, and so I really want to be ready for that one. I really feel like we can run top 5, top 10, something like that. So I really want to try to learn as much as we can this weekend to be prepared for some of those shows later in the year.
Do you think the way you're talking right now, just getting top 5 and 10 in IRA, and just maybe making the show on the Outlaws, it just sounds like a very inexperienced 410 career, because
I am, and that's the thing is
that's the problem with the South, in my opinion, is it's 360s. 360s killed it,
Yeah, and so like it's a big thing is setup differences, doing different stuff to the car. Like that's where I'm trying to learn my way around it. That's where Brian Bales really helped me kind of accelerate that learning curve for me. He's got me dialed in pretty fast where I feel really comfortable in the car. And so, I'm hoping, we can keep kind of learning some stuff together, just try to get that learning curve, just try to speed that process up a little bit. 'Cause it definitely is a big difference, but, definitely the 360s. I don't know how it ended up we never thought about leaving the South. It was 360s. You're here to run ASCS.
And what year was that? How old are you exactly? 35, 40 years old?
37.
37. So me and you are the same age.
Yeah, because
we both know the difference between the A and the ER when it comes to the N-word, basically. We grew up in that high school era, bro, where everybody was getting along. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, everybody was getting along in the South. These people up north, they don't get that stuff,
and the South, like at one time, Memphis was a big hub for 410 sprint car drivers. I mean, you have Lee Brewer, Bobby Davis, Jeff Swindell, Greg Connett, Sammy Swindell. There's a guy, Ronnie Daniels. I mean, they were all coming through Memphis, but in the early 90s, they decided to go to 360s in like 1990, 91. And my dad, they kept their 410s and they would go up to Missouri and run those. They did it for about 2 years. And they finally got 360 and stayed home. And then from the early 90s on, nobody from the Memphis area has been able to really get out except for Stenhouse. We went 360s. And
he went non-wing,
Yeah, he had to go. He did the non-wing stuff. Got saw by Tony Stewart. That kind of just snowballed for him. But he's about the only one that's been able to get out of the South. Where back in the early 90s and 80s, coming through Memphis, that was like a hub. There's like everybody came to West Memphis. The Memphis guys got out, got rides and things like that. But in the 90s, when we went 360s, it just all dried up. And it's kind of where, like, for me, as a kid growing up in the South, like ASCS was like our World of Outlaws. Like I grew up wanting to win.
It was the
ASCS.
only premium. The same thing happened down here in Texas. It was the only premium sprint car racing. We're both born in 87, so,
Right.
we didn't really start, knowing much until we're, 12, 14 years old. That's late 2000s, mid 2000s or whatever. Early 2000s, I mean, 410s were out of this area. It was all ASCS, Gary Wright and Jason Johnson, Travis Rylette, that was...
Right. Yeah, we wanted to win ASCS races. Like we never thought about getting 410s and
It just
out and
wasn't
doing
around.
everything with
The
it.
Outlaws
Yeah,
really didn't come around.
yeah, they didn't come being close at all. What thought in our minds. So like growing up for me, 360s were just like, hey, you want to go win an ASCS race, at the when it was at its peak, time. That's what you wanted to do, and so it's just now starting to work its way down. But hell, it's expensive as it's ever been, so it's super hard to do,
Is it
still.
well, is 360s I mean, originally the 360s came out, and this is the funny thing. I feel like it's 305s all over again. I remember when 360s first came out a little bit, and it was a cheaper motor and easier to be
Oh yeah,
competitive. And then slowly and slowly, the 20,000 went to 25, and then 30, and then 32. I remember the Westmar motors being like 34 grand in the early
yeah,
2000s. Was like, oh my God, what are they doing?
yeah, yeah. They're
And
up to they're up to 50 grand now for really
65 for some premium ones, I'm hearing.
badass 360.
Right.
Um, and so, but still, the thing with the 410s, you get you a 80,000 410, $8,000 410 motor. Well, you can only run that thing maybe 10 nights, to where a 360, I can get a $20,000 360, be competitive, and I can run it for 25 nights, 30 nights if I keep up with it
Well,
good.
what do you mean by be competitive? See, because here's how I see ASCS National right now. There's only about there's probably like 10 guys who could win that national ASCS series championship, but there's only like 4 guys spending outlaw money on the ASCS tour, if that makes any sense. And they are spending every dollar and dime, and they have an
Yeah,
advantage on the 360 fields.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. There are,
So it's
um,
easier to run fifth, but that's why I think
yeah.
they struggle when they get into the outlaws, is because now you're dealing with 40 teams who are spending all the money, not just
Oh
you
yeah, yeah.
five.
I mean, and I think they'll tell you that too. It definitely goes up a level, goes up a notch. But yeah, like you said, with 360s, I can get a $20,000 motor, and I can still, you
And you
know,
could at least be on the track.
I feel like I can be there and I can be top five with ASCS, make a decent little check. Um, it's where the 410s, you've got to have the stuff if you want to run top five, top 10. You've got to have the stuff. If you don't, you really don't have a chance.
Now, what is the stuff? It can't all be just the motor. I feel like
Oh yeah,
shocks and
yeah,
I think that's why a crew chief is huge. Like if you go out there and you don't know really how to wrench a car, you could have a 980 horsepower
yeah.
motor. If you ain't got a wrench for the race
Well,
car and some
yeah,
shock
yeah.
packages, you're
The
done. You
motor,
ain't got no stuff.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. We definitely like the shock technology now is insane. Like you pull a crew chief from like 95, and he hadn't worked on a car since 95, and you brought him into this area, he'd be like, "What the hell is all this?" Like it's gotten so crazy with
I
the
mean, I
shock.
think Davey with the 69K might disagree, but continue.
Well, he hasn't stopped working on cars,
Yeah,
so
that's
that's
true.
what
He
I'm
ain't
saying.
took a break. What you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. Like
Okay.
if you didn't work on anything from 95 and you showed up now, you'd be like a foreign land out here.
Well, and hell, if you went away in 2015 and came back now or
Right.
something,
And that's
you'd know where you're at, but you'd be like, you'd have a couple of years to catch up probably to
yeah. And
be
so
elite.
with the 410s, like it's definitely like your car has got to be good, and all the top outlaw teams, they know their cars, they know exactly what they need and how to get it into the track, and
And
so
look how far off they can be from one another.
yeah, yeah, right,
That they're
yeah,
doing it full time in their separation.
right, and so it's just it's almost like it's too far gone to reel it back in. It's just basically kind of is what it is.
Hmm.
Um, the money teams are going to keep spending the money. I hear people say sprint car racing is the best it's or in the best shape it's ever been, which it is for drivers, but the car owners, it's not in great shape for car owners.
For the
There's
elite car owners, it might be soon, but for your
yeah,
average car owner, it's
and
hell and water still.
that's why you see more and more of the pay to play type deals, which that's fine. Like I get part of your business deal, like this is what it's expensive to race, and that's what it is. I get it. It's just it's slowly putting a guy like me out of racing. Um, I don't right now as I sit here, I don't see myself at 50 years old racing a sprint car. I see myself being out more like 3-4 years from now. And that's sad to say because I love racing and I would love to do it till I'm 50. But the reality is, I don't have money and I don't know people with money. Um, and so it's just kind of the way it's going. I'm thankful and I'm very blessed to drive for the people that I drive for at this moment. They don't ask me for anything. Um, they take me racing when I want to go race, and I'm really thankful for it. But I don't expect them to be doing it 10 years from now. And so I kind of feel like guys like myself will be put out way earlier than they wanted to be. And then where does that leave racing in 10 years if the little guy keeps getting put out? You have 15 World of Outlaw guys traveling down the road. Um,
So
so
you're basically describing what a lot of people I think are saying, and it's happening across the board. Is like, and maybe not the case so much in PA and Iowa, but maybe so the case as well. You never know. If you're not a high limit guy, or you're not a outlaw guy, or maybe even now Power Eyes offering money, and all these little
mhm.
regional series are often offering this tow package and championship money. But unless you're not doing one of those things, you're pretty much put out if you ain't signed up to some kind of deal where you're getting compensation every week.
Yeah, I mean and I get it. If you can follow those series, like you
Like
deserve
imagine
those
if you took your
incentives.
sprint car with some wheels on a flatbed and in a Ford pickup truck and just join the Outlaws. I mean, you could do it, right?
Right?
I
Yeah,
mean, you
if
might
I
make
was
some money then.
you
Yeah,
know
I
if I
mean, if
was
you think
if I
about
was
it.
if I was 20 years old, yeah, I could probably strike out there and do that.
No, well,
But
but that's a good question right there.
you know,
Is there a room? Is there profitability in being a actual budget team? Because I don't know anybody showing up to a 410 race in a damn modified trailer and pulling the car out and putting the
no.
top wing on. And I mean, could somebody, instead of needing $150,000 trailer,
Well,
could
I
you
mean,
budget your actual operation and still be competitive potentially? Jacob Allen and Shark Racing
I
style.
was gonna say Shark Racing. That's kind of how they started their deal, and they
Right.
built it to what it is now.
Well, but just think how much the benefits that the platinum teams get would be more profitable if you operated that way. You're not spending as much in gas. You're towing around with the dually. I mean,
People know all the top teams throw out their good tires right after the
right,
race. You just
right,
go
and you're
to get
getting the tow
check
money. You're
the
getting
tires.
$1,000 tow money in your pickup truck. You
Yeah,
just made 800
you
bucks.
can you could find yeah, if you could find you a fuel sponsor, to
There
get some
it
gas up
is.
and down the road and fuel for the race car. Yeah, you might be profitable at the end of the
Yeah, or
year.
what? Or it's 500 or whatever appearance fee for the platinum team. So
Yeah,
you
yeah, you
get a
might.
2-day weekend. You get $1,000 every week, and you
Yeah,
got free tires. You got your gas bill paid. You're spending like $300 maybe on gas, while the big old trucks are spending six, or
yeah,
eight.
we might have to do it like the Chaz though, and sleep on the side of the road and have bears
Bring a motherfucking tent. Bring a fucking
surrounding
tent,
our
bro.
vehicle and all that.
Oh no,
So
I
we might
forgot.
have to
You
do some
know
of that
about
stuff.
this. You know too much. You know too much.
So
I'm
we
just
have to
saying,
be.
honestly, yeah, that's very similar. That is very similar, actually. Everybody talks about, oh, I'd love to go this track, or love to go here, love to go there. I'd love to do all these things. Chaz, you're so lucky. It's like, fuck, I just did it. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't. It's definitely
sure.
faith based, but I was in a position I could take risks and try, and I tried.
But
And
you got to be really brave to do what you have done for sure.
right.
Because
Oh, and you've seen it from day one with
very,
nothing.
very, very few would go out there and do that.
Well, and put body on the line. It was like what, 3 weeks in, and somebody already wanted me to fight him in Stockton. You were around for that, weren't you? You were all in.
You know what? You might be somebody needs to put you in a car. Y'all just go put it on a flatbed. You go run the whole World of Outlaw tour. You
I'm
know how to
thinking this is big money.
travel the country. You know where to sleep out on the side of the
Hey,
road. Like you got it all
I don't
figured
even I
out.
don't even got to make the race. I'll just progressively get better. What was it? There's a few stories of some big time drivers. I don't know if it's regional or national, but there's some stories I've heard of guys who, yeah, the first time he came out for the first year of his racing, he was like mid pack, back of the field, just driving around. And then the next year, he just turned it on and became a
Yeah,
guy. I've
yeah,
heard of those stories with big time regional and national regional names. Um, so hey, yeah,
yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
it happens all the time. It's like you're gonna get kicked around the first year, but um, they start to find their way the second, third year,
Well, and
and
I'll
they
be the
start
most
coming
famous
along.
driver on the tour. I mean, at that
Yeah,
point, you're the guy.
yeah,
They come to get your autograph. You gonna buy my shirt or theirs? I mean, look at this guy. It's a business.
yeah. Oh yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
that's
I'll just ride around mid pack to the back at every B main. I don't care if I make it. I got free tires and sponsors. I'm getting paid to show up.
yeah. Figure out a way to go live while you're racing in the car, like
Oh
you know,
yeah, we'll be
just
it'll that
have
it'll be.
all the revenue streams covered right there.
Oh my god, dude, and the Outlaws would love it, and then
Well, well, I don't know.
they would love it.
I
They
don't know.
literally have like a traveling hobo with them. Like, yeah, he stays in a tent,
I mean, they won't give you.
or we need
They
to
won't
get.
get. Matter of fact, they won't give you credentials to come to the track. They might not even let
I'm
you
not
race.
I'm not accredited
They're like,
media. Oh,
they'll be like,
I
no,
mean
no,
now that
no.
hold on now because people can say this, but I did have a dirt car license when I raced in New York because it was dirt car.
Okay, well,
So I've
maybe they
already
would.
had a dirt car driver's license
Maybe they would
technically.
let you slide in there. Maybe they would.
Well, I mean, it was a show up there in New York. They loved it. It sucked though; there was no fans, but
Yeah.
we were having good old times up there at the place Kevin Ward was lost.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's where that's where I was racing. I'm not lying.
I understand.
I will say the scariest moment in my life where I questioned the whole racing career deal. There's a track up in New York in Dundee called Outlaw Speedway. I'm sure you remember this. It's the place that goes dust storm and you can't see the cars.
Yeah,
All
I've,
stars have been up there.
yeah, I've seen videos of it.
Oh, it's horrible. So main heat race comes out. I go out there. I run good. I run like second or whatever. And there's an invert. I'm starting 12th in a fucking. I never been to this track. And off at turn 3, there's like a 20-foot drop. So if you ever go off, you're done. It's pretty high banked. And I'm starting 12th in this main event, and it's starting to get dusty. I'm like, holy shit! So I go out there. This is my like 4th race ever in my life, and I'm coming off a turn. We get the green on it. Follow the guy into one. We're kind of good, and then off of turn 2, I remember going down the back straightaway. And then I'm looking at because you kind of follow the guy, see what they're doing.
Yeah.
You're seeing what other people are doing while you're driving, and then all of a sudden they just went away. And I remember when that happened, and we're going into turn 3 where the 20-foot drop is, and I'm like, "What am I doing here?" That I remember. I will not forget this moment when I said, "What am I doing here right now? Why did I get to this point in
I
life?"
know. We've been to several tracks down here in the South where you start 4th or 5th row, and they take the green, and you cannot see the cars in front of you, and you're just hoping there's a corner coming up with no wrecked race cars.
That's right. The number
the
one place for
sketchiest.
that is Southern Raceway.
Oh, I've never been there,
But
but
you've
yeah, it's
seen that.
always
That's
I've seen it.
it's
Yeah,
very similar. And what's crazy about Southern Raceway, which by the way, we're just generally talking, don't expect a topic, is Southern Raceway. I went there for a race with that Eileen Collins love. We're not going to talk about that subject because you know all about that too.
yeah,
Too much. We don't want to get on the record with what you know. But no, I went to that track and it was just a USCS race. I think
yeah,
it wasn't nothing special. I think it was in May or something, and it could seat at like probably 3,500 people. It has a decent grandstand. It's decent, and it was fucking smash packed for like 18
oh yeah,
cars.
no,
And,
yeah,
and it's right outside of Pensacola, which is kind of a racing town.
yeah, no, Pete Walton, he can go through the South and pack out all these hole in wall racetracks that just never see sprint cars. Like he goes into town early, he goes around the gas stations, he passes out flyers, like he does all these things, and then both nights will be slam packed. Like he goes to these racetracks that don't get sprint cars, and it's like that all the time when we race around here in the South. He always has the way of being able to pack the stands out. Like he's really, really good about doing that.
Why do you think that is? And see, I thought the same thing because I've heard in Magnolia and Talladega they get pretty big crowds for the Outlaws there, and when it's freezing, usually it's
Yeah,
like 40 degrees and they're packing places. That's tough to do. People in the South don't like the fucking cold. They hate that
yeah.
shit.
I know.
That's
I saw
another
the.
reason I want to move back to Texas. I only went to Iowa for the girl. I mean, it's
I know.
horrible when the average high is
I know.
6 degrees.
I'm dreading the weather tomorrow night in Peebly. I'm not looking
Oh,
forward
I
to
know. That's one of the reasons I'm like,
55 for the high. So yeah,
my
it's
foot's
gonna
hurt,
be,
but really, I did not sign up for no
yeah,
30
it's not gonna
degrees.
be fun. Yeah,
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 yeah. Well, Saturday's gonna be a little better, but hell, I didn't sign up for no 50 degrees
yeah,
either. I'm sorry, I don't like 50. I mean, 65 is cold. I need a sweater
yeah. I
for
know. That's like,
65. I mean, it's crazy. I never got accustomed to the winter times being up there in Iowa. Now the cold don't hurt as much, but that southern cold's different. Like I've
yeah.
walked into some cold ass areas, obviously up there being with her, and like negative 10 with a negative 18, 20-degree wind chill.
Hmm.
And dude, I went out there in hey dudes and shorts and like scraped the driveway. It's not that, it's like, it's weird to describe. It's like they call it a dry cold. And I think what they mean by that is it's like that humidity really matters. Being from the
Yeah.
South, it's extremely humid. I think
Hmm.
that's why our tracks can kind of stay a little bit better. And once you
Yeah.
get to like Riverside and stuff,
Hmm.
but up there, it's like so dry, it like doesn't stick to you. I feel like when it's 65 or 50 in the South, it's like it's on your skin.
Yeah, it feels weird. Like it does. It feel like you feel like 55. I don't feel pretty good. And you walk outside, you're like, I need some damn jeans on right now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what is this? I thought 55 would be good. Like we went and raced in Hattiesburg a couple weeks ago, and it was showing the same thing. Like the high of 60, lows in the high 50s. I'm like, I'll be good. I wore shorts and flip flops, and I was freezing my ass off. By the time we got to the track, we were leaving the track. I was like, this is just miserable. Like, I would rather sweat all night long than I would to freeze my ass off at the racetrack.
Right. Right.
Give
I
me a
mean,
hundred, give me 100-degree weather. I'm good to go.
well, and the only race I really want to go to in the cold is the Gateway Dirt Nationals. And that's not it. That's not, or in the Chili Bowl, I guess. But the Chili Bowl, I feel like you get cold with their parking lot situation.
Well,
Um,
Chili Bowl this year was pretty good until about Friday and Saturday, and it was bone chilling cold.
right.
And
I feel like it gets colder, but I've been at St. Louis when it's ice on the streets too. It gets cold
yeah,
up there,
that's,
but
that's the only bad thing about those events is I've been to going to Chili Bowl since I was probably 11 years old. We've been in the snow and everything else. Like when the weather gets cold there, it's just not a lot of fun because now it feels like the building gets cold as hell now. I guess they got to keep the door because I guess there's more haze or
yeah.
whatever. So when it gets cold, it feels like they have to keep the doors open. So the whole
Yeah, because
building
you'll
just
just
kind of
be
stays
standing
cold.
there fine sometimes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is great," and then all of a sudden, this fucking like negative 10-degree weather hits
You
you, and
come
it's like,
blasting the
"What the
building.
fuck is
Yeah.
that?" You start
I know.
bundling up. I
Freezing
mean,
cold again. I was like, this is just not fun. I just
but that's the advantage of the Gateway. Gateway. I think that's why, even though I've experienced Gateway when it's snowing outside, that the building is so
their
big.
building. The building is, yeah.
Well, the whole environment, like people who don't know, they think it's in a football stadium. Well, it kind of is. It's in a football stadium and a convention center. Like
Yeah.
that's why that show's even able to happen is because the convention center is separate from the stadium. It's just as big as the stadium, and
Mm,
that's where you park the cars.
yeah, because I noticed we went there when you walk out to like the t-shirt vendor row, you could talk to people like normal. There wasn't even any sound out there. But like Chili Bowl, if you walk out of the grandstands, it's still pretty loud wherever you go.
Hmm.
Like Gateway, when you walk out of the track, it's pretty quiet. You can talk to people and be normal. That's one thing I did really like about the Gateway deal is when you walked away from the track, it was pretty quiet everywhere around that whole
And
building.
there's not a bad seat in the house.
There's not a bad seat. Yeah, it's really good seat for sure.
And Chili Bowl, that's probably the worst thing, to be honest, is a good seat. Because
Yeah,
even
because
when you have you might as well reserve 4 seats for 2 people. I
because
mean,
we used to set up. We set in section CC like row 25, 30 years ago. Then we bought an extra ticket or two. We got moved down to row 8, where we sit on row 8 now, and right in 3 and 4. And it's miserable sometimes. The big chunks of mud that are just flying in the stands, like you can't even watch the races
yeah,
most
you're
of the
getting
time.
you're getting
You're
assaulted.
getting pelted with mud. If you're not paying attention, it'll just blast you in the face. And it's if the when the cushion gets really big, that's when it gets kind of miserable sitting that low down there. I wish they could, I don't know, put some sort of hockey plexiglass up or something to keep the mud from flying up there. They try to put the little chicken wire mesh, but it doesn't break the mud up enough. It's still big chunks flying through the air at you, and it's very difficult to watch the race when it gets way up on the wall like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a good experience. Honestly, the best thing outside of, the pit pass and hell, that's the other thing. The pits are full of people in their fold out chairs trying to watch the race
Yeah.
because they can't get a seat. I
That's
mean,
the that's the that's the craziest thing to me. I would not go to Chili Bowl to kick out my chair and watch the big screen the whole time. Like that just doesn't seem like a good. I just go home and watch it on Flow at that point. I don't
right,
understand
right.
why I spend all that money to just watch it on the big screen. I
Well,
never did
now
that.
I've got to watch it from the infield twice, so that's
Oh,
not a
that'd be
bad
the
view.
best seat. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's not a, but it is, but it isn't. Because they are going around there fast. So if you get to
Yeah.
spinning,
Oh
to
yeah.
watch it, you got to literally just spin around the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's such a short track that you're spinning at a pretty good pace. To
Yeah.
keep up
Yeah.
with a battle or something.
Yes. I don't know. I love going to Chili Bowl, but um, it's just not. It's not what it used to be back when Dan Borst was winning the Chili Bowl and Cruzman winning the Chili Bowl. Like I watched them in them old videos, and the cushion would be, 7, 8, 9 feet away from the wall, and it had a decent little bottom. They were racing side by side. Now it just kind of gets top dominant. Really can't pass when it comes feature time, which I understand. They've lost a lot of dirt and things like that, and so they've had to like recycle dirt or bring in new different dirt. So it's not the dirt that it was in the 2000s, 2001s, but those chili bowls are just so awesome. Like, I
I
guess,
feel like they did. I mean, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I felt like they purposely made it a damn cushion banger for old Kyle.
oh, I don't know.
I
It
mean,
was kind of good.
have you ever seen a chili bow A main like that? Ever? I've never seen it where it's like
Not like it
literally
was.
jump on top of the
Yeah,
cushion and run
that
the
was the
new
first time.
Larson line. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like
That was the
that's
first
never
time it was like
happened.
that. Yeah, it was never. That was the first time it was like that. That's for
And
sure.
just so happens it was like that for the shootout where Kyle was made that line.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I've never seen it build up like that. I don't know how all that happened because they didn't really do anything
can you
different with
center yourself
that.
on the camera, you piece of shit?
Oh, sorry, my
I'm
legs
just
are moving
kidding. These
around.
lazy fucking white people. No, I'm just kidding. But
I
I
see.
mean, out of all the experiences, we're not going to bring up the one experience at the Chili Bowl where your little, we'll say Morgan friend didn't like me too much. That was an interesting interaction.
You
Yeah,
just,
you
I
got
don't
me
know.
in trouble.
You just find a way, and people just want to fight you everywhere you
Everywhere
go.
I go, people, yeah, I've told Spike because he's like, oh, you don't ever do it. He doesn't know. Like, you've been watching from day one, right? You've seen me like in so many like
I think
almost physical altercations.
I think it's been about 2 times when I've brought you around people at the track. 2 times, I think they've wanted to fight you. It was different people, but it was 2 different occasions.
Yeah.
You've come around that each person wanted to fight you for some reason. Of course, it was always after the end of the night when people been drinking beers and stuff like
Hmm.
that. It always happens that way.
But that is weird. I've only really been around you like 10 times, and 2 of the 10, I mean,
Sometimes
that's fucked
somebody tried
up.
to fight you.
You're bad
Yeah.
luck. No, no, no. That's when we're in the sprint car world. But when we try to go have fun in the late model world with Gateway, that was a night that was why for some reason I thought I was drunk and had a dream. Was there really a moment we got into a minivan and the driver and the co-driver in the front seat put
Yeah,
on Cold Trickle and Russ Wheeler helmets from the movie Mellow Yellow and were
yeah,
singing
that was
the
that was that.
song on the way to a strip club? Is my memory serving me correct on that?
I remember just going back to the house
You're lying.
with
Your
the
wife's
helmets and
listening,
stuff.
so you're
And
lying.
so no,
Continue.
no, yeah, no. And
That was
so
going to the strip club.
no, I was.
You wasn't there. You weren't there. I got it. Okay.
We were going. I
We
remember us
left you
going to
at
the
the
house.
house, so I'm
We
wrong.
had the helmets and all that shit on. But actually we like my buddy Perky recycled his outfit from our we went to New Orleans on Halloween. We all dressed as the Cold Trickle deal, and so he recycled his helmets and brought all that stuff out for all that.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable. I was going to get on the Snapchat and see if I could find this video. I think I did use it. This could be funny. But that was the interesting part of the St. Louis trip, which I don't know what happened after the strip club that you weren't at.
I know you woke up on the couch next to me on the third story of the house.
Yeah, it was like a 3-story house, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What's
In the
the
hood.
chat saying? The chat has got to be. Are you reading the chat?
No, I was making sure yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah.
I was making sure I shared it to my Facebook here.
Chaz lied again. Chaz rug pulled us on Joe. Broke Joe is sleeping. Where is Broke Joe? Why do they want Broke Joe? Broke Joe.
Well, it's only 8:30 on the West Coast,
It's
so he
not.
should be
It's
good to
but
go.
Broke Joe's not a good person, right? Tell him. He hates
No,
on Southern race car drivers.
Broke Joe, y'all have some of the most entertaining episodes when Broke Joe
Center
comes on
yourself
here.
on the camera, you asshole.
I
No.
can't. I've just got it on my legs.
Oh,
You and Broke Joe put on some of the best shows on here.
why is that? What is it?
I don't know. When you two get to arguing with each other, that's just the best thing on YouTube. Like, I don't know
So
what it
wait,
is.
me and Broke Joe will talk normally for most of the time. But then there are the like say we talk for 2 hours. It's like almost a commercial break. Every 10 minutes or so, there's gonna be like a little thing, and that's what y'all are waiting for is the commercial.
Well, I like his conspiracies. I like all that stuff. But you two get to going when he's like, Chaz, you don't know what you're talking about. You see, Chaz, you don't know what you're talking about. Like that's my favorite part. Like, all right, here we go. I was like, it's on now.
And then I don't back down,
Mm-mm.
and then he gets to calling me a bum or something.
Oh yeah,
That's the
yeah,
deal. That's the deal. I think I brought that up in a show the other day. It's like
yeah.
you know when when you disagree with Joe, that's when the
It,
switch happens. He goes
it,
to other Joe. He has the split personality. He doesn't want
yeah,
to admit it. We all do. We all have a switch. His switch
yeah.
flips when you disagree with him.
Put those chemicals in your body, and you eat all the
Yeah,
food. Yeah,
Drink your. Can you not talk without drinking your fat drink?
it's some of the best YouTube on there.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
like
good.
if you had a weekly show with Broke Joe, I mean, we're talking 10,000 views per episode.
Oh,
Give it time. Even
don't.
though he wouldn't do it, he'd be like, I can't. He would probably feel like he is enabling you to be drinking and smoking and eating
Yeah,
your food.
I mean to
You
deal with
know,
him. Fuck, you got to be doing all those things. If you don't do all those things and you deal with him, you'll commit suicide. I mean, hell,
oh,
this Ryder LaPlante, you know, I was telling Joe, yeah, he's pretty down after he made a mistake in the heat, and Joe's like, he's trash, he ain't no good,
I know.
and I'm like, what the hell? The kid's crying in the trailer. He's like, who
Yeah,
cares? If he was good, you might as well.
Joe's gonna be watching Peevely this weekend. I'm gonna go out there and qualify 40th. He's gonna be like, why do you have these guys on your show? Why do you even talk to these people? Why do you even talk to these
He's
people?
gonna text that. He is literally gonna text that. He is, and he does that from time to time. The biggest one he ever got was fucking Landon Crawley. Oh my.
Oh boy.
When I was on Crawley's side there when he was good and I was giving him credit, nobody else was. Oh, this Landon Crawley, and then Landon bombs the rest of the fucking year. And then he comes on and he's like, "How about Landon Crawley?" And we get to discuss it. And all I did was say what I think is the truth. That and this is you remember when Tim made that big bad post about me and all that stuff. You know,
Yeah, y'all
Crawley.
having a
He
little
got
feud there.
yeah he got all mad. But it was only, I guess, at me because I said, you know, I think coming from the South, it doesn't prepare you to run 410 racing. Now, I just don't think it does, you know. Competition wise, you know, it's hard to get a lot of competition all the time. You know,
Yeah.
it's budgeting areas. I think it's economically based. There's not enough people who can afford in these regions premium 410 sprint car equipment. You don't
Yeah.
have the cars around. There's not enough money.
Yeah, I mean it's a different level for sure. And he's still really green, and I think he's going to be fine. Like he's good. He'll get there. It's just going to take some
You're
time.
being very nice because he has bombed since then.
Well, I mean, he's had some good runs. I didn't expect him to go out and run, top 10 every night. It's going to be a process. 17 GP, that thing wasn't working out, for whatever reason, but he had good runs.
But I mean, freaking Chris
cars.
Wyndham looks like a superstar right now.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. He looks pretty good, but but like I said, it was still Landon's first year in the 410s when he was in Jason's car, and he had some he did some impressive things. Like I'd have never thought he'd had any quick times or he made any dashes. I didn't think that was going to happen. He was able to do that. So I think that was, a really good first year for him out there. I would have liked to have seen him stayed out there again. I think he could have had a better year this year if they just stuck it out with him. So it's just you got to. I think a lot of it is. I see you can't get to really bouncing around. You got to stick with something, stick with somebody, try to build on that. To really to make those things work out there. Like you see Gravel and them sticking together. They're at an all-time high right now. It's a process. It is something you don't just show up and just start smoking everybody's ass out there.
Right. But I mean, that's how the good ones do it, right?
But just
Isn't that
show up.
well, yeah, I mean, Gio sells, he jumps in, it seems like if you're a guy or if you're going to potentially be a guy, you do have success relatively quick, easy, or not
Well,
easy, but you have it very quickly.
the Geo, he had run a lot of 410 races when he got into
Can
the
you center the
18
camera?
car.
I know I keep asking.
So I don't know.
I feel like
can't-
it's annoying for the fans to see one guy up here, one
Probably.
guy down there. It's like
Are we
this weird.
centered now?
Yeah, that's better. Yes, thank you. Get a damn kitchen table dinner tray out or something.
That's what I got underneath me right
Oh
now.
God.
Actually.
Okay. Continue.
But yeah, I mean, like when like for instance, Landon, he'd only had a year or two of 360s under his belt, and so it's going to be a process. I still think he'll figure it out and they'll get rolling pretty good. I think him with Johnny Herrera, I think that's going to be a good pairing. I think they'll be
And
all
if it's
right.
not, I mean, it didn't. When I was down there watching him regionally, he never really came across as something special. I mean, he had success sometimes, but there's a lot of times it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't. I just didn't see anything. Never jumped off the screen. I saw other guys that had more potential. Potentially,
Well,
hell,
the
even
last,
you. I would have picked you if I had a draft and I was picking like a team or a roster, and it was like Landon Crawley, Brad Bowden, a couple other guys from y'all's area. I'd probably pick you over him. That's what I'm saying. Just by watching y'all race.
well, I mean, I appreciate that, but
You beat him several times.
Yeah, but it's taken me. I feel like right now, I feel like I'm probably driving the best. These last 2 years, 3 years, I've driven the best I've ever had. Like I finally put it all together, and it's taken me a long time to do that. Like I've been running sprint cars since 2004, and I feel like it's taken me all that time, like to get to where I feel like I'm pretty good. Like I feel pretty confident when I go out there now, but it just took me a long time to mature as a driver. And
So
to really start putting
you
it all
never
together.
had speed to begin with. You had to learn speed.
I did, but I couldn't finish the job, I guess you could say. Like I would lead laps or, run second, run the leader down, make mistakes. I couldn't ever put it all together.
Oh,
It
you
took
were
me
also in an era that was pretty tough in that region too, in
well, yeah, I
comparison
mean,
to today.
yeah, like our area is still really tough now. We have several, we got Dale Howard, you got Derek Hagar, Howard Moore, we got a kid down here, Hayden Martin. I'm probably forgetting somebody, so I hope they don't get mad about that. But we got several good, very good drivers in this area. But like I said, this area just not getting any light shined on it. And, these last couple of years, I feel like I've really come into my own as a driver and really started to put it all together. And so I mean, he'll, I feel like he'll probably catch on way quicker than that because he's out there running at the highest level. And it'll all come together. But just for me personally, it just took me a while to start putting them all together to get the wins and to get to not lose the second place, the third places, and to do stuff like that. It just took me a while to really mature as a driver and to just not make those mistakes.
Well, to go through all that, the hardest part is probably retaining confidence that you can do it.
Yeah, it's like
You know,
I've been through such a long stretch where I've led so many and then lose them at the end. You just kind of wait for that moment to happen, but then you finally start reeling off a couple in a row, and you just kind of figure out what you need to do, where you need to be to hold on to it and to win those races.
so are you racing in that area when Stenhouse was coming up?
Yeah. He actually, I was just getting started in 360s because it was about 2007, 2008 when he was getting rolling and going off to Indiana. But it was like 2006 we raced together. I think maybe like 2007 we raced together a little bit in the 360 stuff before he got the Don Wing stuff rolling. So we did race a little bit. We raced go karts and stuff together too. So,
And he always beat you in everything?
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he just did. He was really good. That's like I feel like a lot of people forget how good Ricky was in sprint cars. If he would have stayed in sprint cars, he would be. I feel like he could be a top 5 outlaw guy every week if he just stayed in sprint
Really?
cars. Yeah, he was really good. Yeah, he was really good.
So he's not Chase Briscoe, basically. You know, I feel like a guy like Chase Briscoe at NASCAR is kind of an example of every dirt racer could do it. You know, because he was like a mid packer on the dirt track. He never really
I
was
did.
dominant.
Yeah, Chase Briscoe definitely came out of nowhere, but Ricky was really good. He won his first ASCS national show. He was probably I think he was like 14 or 15 at the time. It was like 2006. He won a ASCS national show at Riverside. He was always on the hammer. He was always, up on the cushion. He was a gasser. And I really feel like if he'd have stayed at it, he'd be a top 5 outlaw guy or whatever, he was running right now.
Of course, he went non-wing. And then, of course, probably, what was it, like 3 years ago at Chili Bowl, he really put it on him on a qualifying night. I think he came from like the back of the B or the C and just like drove around everybody and finished like second.
Yeah, he's always done really well at the Chili Bowl, for no more than he runs midgets. That's what I'm saying.
I feel like he's better non-wing, to be honest. But you saw him grow up on the wing,
he was really good in the wing stuff for sure. He just kind of caught traction in the non-wing stuff, and that's where he kind of just really took off. At the time, though, the NASCAR route was kind of going through the non-wing circuit. If you remember the time, Casey
or just
Kane
progression, because IndyCar was starting to test some guy. What was that? The Indy Light Series was starting to use some USAC guys, I think, as well at that time.
Yeah, because remember Casey Kane had a USAC teams at that time. Tony Stewart had the USAC teams, and so that was kind of like the pathway at the time. Was the non-wing deal.
It's kind of crazy how much more relevant non-wing was back then, because I feel like it's off the map right now. Like
it's fallen off a lot for sure. I mean, especially like even midget racing. Like,
it's a joke now.
It's not interesting. I was looking around on YouTube, and there's a page. You think it was like Raceway Video. He's been posting all these old clips, and he was posted a 2000 midget show in like Attica, I think it was Attica or Lima, and the cars just raced better. They looked cooler, and it wasn't this Toyota dominant thing that it is now.
And a bunch of kids.
And I don't even think the kids are the problem. It's just you can only have. You got to have this package or this package to be fast. There's nothing else that can be fast. You have a SR11 and you have a Toyota. If you don't have those, there's no need even showing up to the racetrack.
Right.
So it just kind of, I don't know. It just took all the wind out of the sails of it, really, in my opinion. It just, it don't do nothing for me anymore. It's like, because early on in like 2007, 2008, I was running some non-wing stuff, and I really enjoyed racing it.
It does put the driver back into the car.
Yeah,
I mean, sure. I do think that you can have less equipment in non-wing and perform.
Yeah. Oh, that is one thing about it.
You can't do that with a wing on. You can't. No, there's no way. There is no way anyone out there winning right now in winged racing is winning on less.
Yeah, no, you don't have to have the killer motors for the non-wing stuff. That is one good thing about it for sure. It's just I don't know. I feel like for the non-wings, the track have to be really, really specific. Like it's got to have a curb. If it doesn't have a curb, it kind of just single files out and doesn't really get that great. Where wing cars, you can still kind of move around and do different things with wing cars. Where the non-wings, the tracks have to be a specific way for the racing to be really good, in my opinion. That's just what I feel about it.
So you think the non-wing are more track dependent?
I think so. Yeah, like if you have a blowed off slick racetrack, it's very rare that they get to racing really hard. It kind of just
has to have a cushion to lean on.
It kind of just files down to the bottom, something like that. Whereas the wing cars, you're not really don't really have to have that to have a pretty decent
That
race.
that's very true. I never thought of it like that, but it is a situation, and that goes with any car. I've been to so many racetracks where local program or regional program, they'll have the 4 or 5 classes, and every car, every class, A main comes around, it's slick. They'll all
Mm,
just follow around the bottom, follow around the bottom. But then once that wing car comes out there,
mm,
it's got that wing. It's driving off the left rear. It can
yeah,
carry momentum better, and it opens up that outside line just because it has a wing.
yeah, yeah. It definitely opens up more racing lanes. It just, like for instance, at our home track in Riverside, we had the non-wing 305s for a while, and they'd be singled out, around the bottom. But when the wing cars come out, we could do different things with them than what they could do with their cars. And so it's just that's just kind of why I don't know. I've gravitated more towards the wing stuff the last couple years. To just I don't know. I know people complain about the racing, but I still feel like it's better racing uh, most of the
And
time.
the driver's more in charge as well.
Yeah. Um,
Are you having to get off here soon?
not yet. I can get it about 11 o'clock.
Oh no.
I actually do got to work in the morning and a little bit before I head up to Peebly, so it's going to be a long day tomorrow. But
And obviously you have your expectations, but is there anything you want to say to Broke Joe on your travels tomorrow? I mean, he always hates
I,
on the South. You don't
I,
think it's
I know.
important to have
I
Southern
really feel
sprint
like
cars?
I have a lot of weight on my shoulders tomorrow that I got to show Broke Joe that we're not just a bunch of damn hillbillies running around down here.
That's what he says.
Bunch of damn hillbillies running around, with our we don't wear t-shirts and
He
all
likes the
that.
guys who work for it. There ain't really one sprint car racer in the South that ain't going to work Monday through Friday. But he loves those
Yeah,
people, but then he shits on them. It's
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Only if you're from California. If you're
Yeah,
from
you can't
California, they
drive.
look
You can't drive
absolutely
if you're
fine.
not from California or PA. He acts like the ability to drive the cars is like some kind of trained thing. You know, there are guys who can literally just get in the car and go. They
Yeah,
just got it.
yeah, for
I think
sure.
if you're an elite, I think it's almost like, and this is why I don't think age plays a factor. It's almost like throwing a football or shooting a 3-pointer. It's all that hand-eye coordination or hitting a receiver on the run, or if you're good in any of those style of skills, that hand-eye coordination world, I think you could get into a sprint car and do pretty damn good. If you just it may take you a little bit to learn what the
Yeah,
hell it is, but I think
yeah,
you have the same elite skill set. It's kind of the same. It's in the same wheelhouse, literally.
yeah. I mean, it just you know,
All I'm saying is like that's born talent. That
right.
just because you're not 14 and broke Joe's car and he gave you a chance, that doesn't mean that you're the greatest ever and no one else can be close. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I love Broke Joe. I can't. It's hard for me to. I don't want to get on it, but we're not a bunch of hillbillies down here in the South. Like I said, I'm gonna go to work tomorrow. Then I'm gonna head to Peebly, qualify 40th or something like that. Broke Joe will text you, tell you how bad. Why do you have these idiots on your show? So I got a lot of pressure on my shoulders, knowing Broke Joe's gonna be watching me tomorrow.
oh no. Oh no. You're
Yeah,
gonna be his new Ryder LaPlante. He loved rubbing that one in.
you know what? He said he wasn't going to make it till 50, and he's right. He might as well go ahead and retire tomorrow because he sucks.
Oh no, God. We got it. He just doesn't respect it, man. I mean, you could win 100 races in the South, you're nobody.
Yeah, he sucked. Yeah,
Yeah.
he just like I said, we have a lot of good drivers down here.
How about this? The
Yeah.
confidence, like I was saying, the confidence to be able to still do it. Are you confident enough if you, as a driver, were given a premium opportunity, even at your age? If you were given a premium opportunity in a premium car with a crew, you got a team car to David Gravel, and you had a month. Do you think you could figure a way to win with that race car?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. If I didn't think so, I probably shouldn't be racing.
Do you
I think
think
all of
so?
us.
That's what I say, and Kyle agrees with this. I'm like, if nobody else thinks they're better than you, get them out the car and put someone in there who thinks they are. I feel
Yeah,
like you have to feel that way.
I don't think I don't think you could just set my car up like Kyle Larson sets his up, and I could go out there and do what he does. Um, you know, I feel like I could be very competitive if I had, the right opportunity. to do that. Which, I think we all sit around and wonder, if I had this opportunity, could I do that? Could I do this? Would I be able to do? Would I be able to run top five? Things like that. And you know, I get, honestly, uh, I get a little more pride out of going with Peanuts' car this weekend. If we can put that thing in the show, like, that'll feel just as good as a win. Like, taking that, our small budget team, and putting it in the show will be amazing. So I get a lot of pride in trying to do that. Like, it's going to be a tall task, but I'm going to go out there and give it 100% every time to see if I can make it happen. And then, um, and so a big time ride, like, yeah, I would love the opportunity at it. Will it ever happen? I don't know,
I
but
feel like 360 and maybe regional racing needs to somewhat develop sooner or later some actual college system. They use our shit like college. But and what I mean by that is that's why you got to give credit to victories and winnings. There's a guy like you who could win everything in your region, or any guys, and they just never do get an opportunity because they're it's almost like college football. If you win the Mountain West, Boise State, what the fuck?
yeah,
You didn't win the SEC,
yeah,
and I feel like they view like California and PA like SEC, Pac-10, and then the South is like the Mountain West or
yeah.
something, and no one gets an opportunity, no matter how performing well, that no matter how good of a Boise State team they are. Maybe I think somehow, some way, there could be regionals, and then you could have like a national championship weekend or racing event, and you're taking some of the top five out of if you actually did conferences of the country and took the top five of it out of each conference in that division and had some kind of national championship event
Are
that
you
could
you,
work out to where
you
everybody gets
saying,
their.
like, we bring our cars that were racing to this national championship, or do we all have like 16 cars prepared the same to
Hmm,
have this one
that would be
final
cool.
meet?
That would take a lot of money, but
Yeah,
that would be cool.
yeah, because
You're
you
saying
know,
equipment just matters that much when that wing's on that car.
I mean, I feel like it does. Yeah, um, even in 360 world, uh, you know, if I you let's say, for instance, Seth Bergman, like, he's got amazing equipment, best of the best of everything. You know, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be up front, winning races, and that's what you got to shoot for. And so, if I feel like we take our region, we take them to this final, as you're saying, that equipment is still going to overshadow what I'm bringing to the table. So I feel like it would almost have to be some sort of IROC type deal for
Really?
the championship, like
Hmm.
some sort of IROC type thing. Because also a track size would matter a lot. Like, say, let's go to, okay, we'll go to Creek County. We go to Creek County. I feel like I can take my car and win, no matter which ASCS guy is there. But let's say we take that my car and we go to uh,
Knoxville.
Knoxville. Yeah, I'm screwed. So I feel like it's very track dependent as well. Smaller the track, the more I feel like I can hang in there and compete. But like you said, take my equipment to Knoxville, I'm going to be out to lunch. So it's very track dependent as well.
Hmm. So you almost need like a prelude to the dream, but national weekly championship style or whatever college system, or if you're going to
Yeah,
select these teams, you need the equal playing field to see who can do it.
yeah. I mean, it would definitely be more of a true winner, I guess you could say. If
Or talent
it was
displaying who's the actual better
that way.
driver
Yeah,
more so
or
than
that.
who has the better
Yeah,
car. You
yeah.
know.
Because I mean, it's definitely car is definitely massive right now. I mean, even what you can spend on your tires, to like, can you buy tires every time you're going out there, or like, we run used tires all the time, and um, it's just it's a big part of the game as well as tires, shocks, all those things. And so, Like you said, you got to have the money.
Somebody just said in the comments that they could lap Brad Bowden. That's funny. You know, we talked about midgets. You know, it was you and Tucker Bolton that were putting it on Kaylee Bryson's ass for a month.
Wow.
It's true. I mean, you and Tucker's the more surprised, even though he's good. But you know, Kaylee was supposed to be this, you know, superstar chick who's just badass, and she gets in that Howard team car, you know, unlimited funding, and you and fucking Dowdy were putting it on her. You were lapping her, I think, a couple times.
Well, I mean,
This is true. This is. I'm not lying, right? I'm not lying, right?
I mean, yeah, we did beat her
A lot every night.
I still feel like it's another thing of time in the seat. Like she didn't have a whole lot of time in the seat.
But she's supposed to be this fucking super killer and she's the best equipment. And she, you know, by the time you got the TST and y'all were still putting it on her, she had been in the car for like a month and a half.
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like
you're giving passes.
Some of the situations too that was put in were very difficult to jump in a sprint car. Like she came to Riverside.
But it wasn't the World of Outlaws, is my point. It wasn't like she went up against any quote unquote big competition. She went up against you and Tucker Bolton. I mean, these are, I mean, and no offense, these are nobodies, and she's supposed to. It's not like she threw them in the World of Outlaws or High Limit.
I feel like we're kind of contradicting yourself. Do the South have good drivers, or do we not have good drivers?
I'm saying, well, looky here. I mean, yeah, she probably needed time to learn how to drive a sprint car, but she went up against quote unquote nobodies, and the nobodies put it on her ass. That's crazy to me. And she had the best of the best, and they knew what they were doing with the cars.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely had good stuff. I don't know. I don't feel like it was just. I mean, this area is tough, especially like Riverside. Going to Riverside, that's a very tough track. Some of the best drivers have come to this area and really struggled at that racetrack. And there was one, I know we raced in the Magnolia that one weekend, and it got a ton of rain, and the mag was really rough. And it's a big, it's a big track, and it was really rough. And there was a lot of just circumstances that didn't go her way when she did try to come around here and race in this area. So I don't really feel like it was a true test or a true test of what she really could have done in the sprint car.
Well, I mean, I watched her run the 305 Belleville Nationals and finish like 12th in the champions team car.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, that's 305s. I'm just saying. I really think that exposes how soft the midget fields are on the national level nowadays. It is kindergarten.
Well, I mean, it's just it's a lot of elite cars, and if you gotta have those cars to be competitive.
Right. So you're racing 4 people every week. What are you learning? Who are you beating? I mean, you're out driving people based on equipment, and you don't know any better.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you see that as the midgets are starting to fall off now. It was like a NASCAR hub as well, and now you don't really see anybody taking off. I mean, I know a few of them are in the late models, stock cars or whatever, but it's not really progressing as fast as Christopher Bell or Kyle Larson has done. It's just
too much money's being brought. Just like how we were talking about people bringing money to the sprint car deal. You know, that's 20 years in development in NASCAR world. You know, so they're all about the money. Over there, it's if you ain't got the money, buy. You know, they even talk about that on that Dale Jr. download.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's definitely that's what it's all about.
Door Bumper Clear talks about it. The spotter, he's like, if we don't fix this with this sport in 5 to 10 years, I don't know what we're going to be. Because they're talking about, he's like $10, $15 million, $9 million. He's like, regular people can't afford this shit, guys. And we're making people at 15, 16, 17 sign up for this, It seems like they get them right before ARCA, K&N Weston, and so they're in K&N West at what 15, 14 now, 16 now, and then they're getting the Cup estimated at 24. So when you sign up for this deal, you're talking about 16 to 24. That's 8 years. So if you want to plan that and sell that package, here's how we'll get you to NASCAR. That's probably like $180 million spending phase of 8 years. You know, you're $250,000 for a K&N West, and you're 1.2 million or 5 million for ARCA, and then you're 5 or
Yeah.
8 for trucks for 2-3 years, and then your Xfinity for 10 and 15. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I really don't know where all that money comes from, honestly. It's
it's
like,
not from regular people.
yeah,
It's royals. It's the most elitist sport in the world, unfortunately.
yeah.
Especially with the ages. And like Tony Stewart was on here the other day. He was a Gillette Young Gun at 28.
28, yeah.
28. And that's right, though. That's how that should fucking operate. That should be, you shouldn't be able to be a rookie in NASCAR Cup racing until you're 27 to 30 years old, period.
Yeah. And then back in those days, that was kind of like the heyday of it all, really. That was when
Yeah.
it was peaking, was when you had the 28, 29, 30-year-old guys were the best ones. That was when it was pretty much at its best.
Right. And an old veteran was 45 and 50.
Yeah.
You know, and we brought that up the other day with Smoke as well. It's like, I don't think the talent falls. You know, Sammy Swindell, who is from Riverside, you know, I was like, people, you know, Sammy's 69 right now, but I looked up his stats when he was 49 just for fun the other day. And he was like 2005 Channel Lock Sammy, you know, was whooping some fucking ass at 49, you know.
Yeah, you know, he can and he can still get it going here at 69 years old. He can go out there and knock out a win, you know, against us nobodies, you know, he can go out there and knock it out anytime. You know, he's at damn near 70 years old. So
yeah, my dad had he had saved a handout from the first World of Outlaw race, and it was a deal about Sammy, and he had the 91 car, and then the other 44, I think he drove, the super modifieds or the modifieds. And on the back of it, it like detailed Sammy's entire career, and it showed like 1972 won his first race, set the track record. I mean, he did everything like right out of the gate and never stopped. It was like Kyle Larson shit, but in the 50s and 40s, I think, or 70s. You know, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I think out of all the drivers in motorsports, what other drivers had as long and as a successful career than Sammy? Any of them. I mean, we could talk about who's the best, the Mount Rushmores and all this stuff whenever you want, but who's done what Sammy has done for this amount of time? I mean, Lance Deweese is close, but I don't think even Deweese and Sammy are close in their heydays. You know, I mean, Sammy was better than Lance.
Yeah, because, you know, hell, Steve's been retired for 10 years now, and Sammy's still, you know, clicking along, and he's still sharp and still in pretty good shape.
Right. I think he was winning outlaw races until like 2016 or 15, you know?
Yeah, I think so. That big game car, I think he was still out there winning, you know, damn near winning Knoxville Nationals and stuff around.
Right. Yeah, the tire blew up that one.
Yeah, so he's still, you know, like you said, he can still go out there. You know, he'll be racing Peebly this weekend. You know, he can still go put it in the show this weekend.
Right.
With that deal. And so, yeah, he's definitely stood the test of time for sure.
Yeah,
he don't show any signs of slowing down anytime soon.
Well, he's definitely slowed down over the last 10, you know.
Well, yeah, he's not.
But he was still competing for champion or Chili Bowls in 15 and 16. You know, that's when him and Kevin were racing side by side, and everybody thinks he gave Kevin that one where he lifted for him off of four.
Anybody else, and he's going to the wall.
Yeah, and I believe that was 2015 that he did that.
About that time, yeah.
So I mean, 2015, how old was? So he was 59 at that point. 59 years old.
Yep. Still getting after it.
Still winning Chili Bowls without lifting for Kevin, which I mean that's fine, but. And I'm not even just saying sprint car racing. I'm saying of all of motorsports, who has had that length and dominance? You know, that we always try to say Kyle Larson is he a Steve Kinser or something like that, but he's probably closer to a Sammy, you know, with how quick he got going, and how long is Kyle going to race? I mean, that's his bread and butter. He seems he loves it. So he did his deal with the devil to where he has to do it. It's like Taylor Swift. No, bitch, you got to go sing. You don't get no time off. You love racing. Here it is. But
yeah, no, it is. But it is sad to think about, like, us losing these guys to NASCAR. Could you imagine you had Larson and Bell right now, like, and how amazing it would be if there was no split right now. There was World of Outlaws is still, the main one. You had Larson, you've had Bell, you'd have Gravel,
Corey
Reitzel, like
Day.
it'd be Corey Day, like it'd be amazing right now if we could keep that. But it's, I guess, like Stewart said, if money for money, they'd still be in sprint car racing, and I hate hearing that. And I hate hearing people like, why can't we stay and build on what we got right
Right.
now?
So where you make it more profitable.
Yeah, build on what we got right now
Right.
instead of running out to take the money, I guess you could say. And that's one thing that frustrates me is,
Well, and that's why I always compare it to a working man and a sugar daddy. It's like a girl.
yeah,
She's like, I love you, worker guy. I love you, sprint car, but I want the money now. Fuck building this relationship with you
yeah,
and having a nice house and living in my means and being happy. I want the gluttony, the greed, the big
yeah,
house, the hot bitch, the titties, the cocaine. It's addiction, damn it.
yeah,
No, but you know what I mean by that. It's like they're
yeah,
only going for the money, just like the
right.
girl only goes to the rich guy, and just has an Escalade and lives in a mansion. It's only for the money. It's not for the love.
Yeah, and it's frustrating too. Is when those guys come in and race. That's all you ever hear about. You don't hear about anybody else
Yeah.
coming to the race. You only hear about them. So, like you said, we have our stars, but we don't build them up. We don't try to maximize their
And then
potential.
when we got something coming that's sellable, we give it away.
Yeah, yeah, that happens
We do
all the
all
time.
the work. Why do we do all this work? It's like we're the farmer, and NASCAR is like the big consumer market, and it's like we grow all these crops and then we just sell them or give them
Yeah,
away, and hope they go tell other people about our farm here so
yeah,
that we can sell it. What?
yeah. Yeah, it's like you talk about it all the time too. Is I can go around Memphis and ask people, have like I'll be working and I'll tell somebody that I race. So like, what do you race? Like, I drive a sprint car. What is that? Or what does that look like? Or,
Mm-hmm.
you race it on dirt? Like, and I'll tell them like, yeah, there's a track in West Memphis, just right over the bridge. I've heard, I heard that thing closed down 20 years ago. I heard it caught on fire and burned down. And it's like, no, it's still sitting right there over the bridge. As soon as you go over the bridge, it's right there. But people just don't know about it. You got this, like you talked about, uh, trying to get out in the Dallas area. We got the whole Memphis area, but our only problem is Memphis has this downtown Bill Street life, and you got the Grizzlies in town, and
All right.
you got there's so many just other
But then
things
at
that
the
have
same
come
time, the thing
around.
that's worse is that you're not even on the menu of things to
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
understand, and I've heard this competition discussion. There's so many things to do. Well, if you're not even a thing,
yeah,
that's the problem.
yeah.
Not
It's,
being a thing.
it's just like even over in West Memphis, they got this massive casino, uh, Southland Greyhound Park, right over there. Like I would love to see a collab with them too, like get people that from the casino to come check out the race on Saturday night, or somebody from the track go to the casino. Some way to bring people in. There's so many options, or there's so many things you can do, but it's a big risk too at the same time. But
Yeah.
uh, and there's just so many competing factors around the Memphis area now, and a big thing with Memphis is uh, people are leaving the area. The race fans are going 2 hours, 3 hours getting out of Memphis because Memphis has gotten so bad recently. People are just fleeing the
I
city
want
and
to
going
talk about
elsewhere.
that. I want to talk about Memphis, but can I go pee real quick? Can we
Yeah,
put the
yeah, it's
chat
fine.
on and I can go pee? I see
All
you
right,
see
yeah,
me
it's cool.
moving back and forth. Hold on.
All
We're going to the chat. I know you got the phone. Look up the chat and respond to some of these guys.
right. Let's see. Let's see here. 57 wins the world championship. Chaz, Chaz, why whine about rich people? Now, why would money make you faster? What? Only real. Just Davey. Brad, do you enjoy racing? Yes, I enjoy racing. I love racing. If I didn't enjoy racing, I still wouldn't be doing racing. What's up, Jacob? I feel pretty good. This is the first pee that the Chaz has taken in this whole episode. One pee down, six to go.
What did he say?
I said I feel pretty good. This is the only pee the Chaz has taken in this episode.
I mean, and I had a can of this zero sugar bucked up energy. I don't know what this
You got
is,
it.
but I
So
think that's
you
what induced the situation.
energy drink at 11 o'clock at night.
Well, it's not full of caffeine really. It's kind of supposed to be a little healthier for you.
Mm,
But it's got a bunch of vitamins and shit in it. So with my foot being hurt, I was like, I probably need some of that. So
I got you.
and it's a better option besides beer. Beer's bad for you,
Yeah,
right?
that is true. Yeah. That's a fact.
I mean, I didn't have any beer on the Tony Stewart show. I didn't, and it seemed like it went over very well.
It was good. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah,
And I didn't have any beer on the show last night. But then at the end of the Stewart deal, he's talking about we got to get drunk and do another
yeah.
show.
He's ready.
Well,
Uh,
I think a show at the ballroom, me, Tony Stewart, Broke Joe, and Spike would be
I
must
do. I
see.
I do love that ballroom that he was talking about. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, it's been there. It's just they never really done much with it. So it will be interesting to see what they do with it this year in
Yeah,
particular. You were
he's
just
gonna.
talking about the Memphis deal.
Yeah,
Obviously, you're not. I'm going to put you in the non hood wearing racist dirt track person. I'm going to put you in that category. I can't say that for everyone watching the show right now. Um, I will say that I think the South is very different than the North, especially if you live in any cities. I was talking to a person from PA about this. When I go up in these northern areas, it's like almost like Eminem in 8 Mile, where there's a train track, and on one side is the
mm,
white people, and one side's the black people. Like that's not. I think that back in the day when the North was the good people and the South was the bad, like we had forced integration.
yeah,
We were the bad guys in the South. So our areas got forced to mingle a little bit more, I think. And you don't really have areas of town. You have more mixed diversity, I think, in the South. I think it's a
to
little,
an
well, when you get out in the country, it changes. But I'm just saying there's a lot more major cities and areas of multicultural environments outside and
yeah,
around it. But you were about to lead into something about Memphis, which pretty interesting. I think even some of the black culture doesn't accept the
yeah.
ways that the new age is getting crazy. What's
Pretty
the
wild. Yeah,
situation with? I remember I went down there on the what is it, Beagley's or Bailey Street or
Bill Street on
Bill
Bill Street.
Street,
Yeah,
and that's where I think Elvis. That's where he came up out of. That Elvis movie is just phenomenal. I don't know if you watched it, but it was
I hadn't
phenomenal.
seen it. No, that's
Oh, I cried at one point. And I
oh
don't even
yeah,
like Elvis. I'm not an Elvis guy, but it was like,
yeah,
wow, this is good. But um, it was crazy. We're walking down the street and people are in the back of trucks shooting fireworks, and it was like I went to the Chaz. You remember when I went to the Chaz when Black Lives
yeah,
Matter took over
yeah.
Seattle?
Seattle.
And
Yeah,
they fucking shut the town down and
yeah.
called it the
That was pretty
Chaz. And the
crazy.
next thing I
Yeah,
know, I'm live with the person who took over the fucking city. You remember that? We
yeah.
probably watched it.
Yeah, now, yeah, like now, see, when we were younger, like we would go hang out on Bill Street all the
Right.
time.
I feel like in
Like,
our era, it wasn't as racism was
and like you,
dying in like 2006.
and like you said, it was pretty mixed. Like there was black people, white people, walking up and down the street, you know, even in the bars, like mixing and mingling and stuff like that. But like it's changed so much. Like we don't even think about going to Bill Street. If somebody mentions, "Hey, let's go to Bill Street," you're like, "Yeah, I'm not going." Like it's changed so much. Like there's shootings on Bill Street all the time. They have a police precinct on Bill Street, full of cop cars, full of police officers, and there will still be a shooting on Bill Street. Like you don't even think twice about going. The last time we went to Bill
So
Street,
you're
we went
saying I
on.
was kind of gullible to go to Bill Street?
Yeah, yeah. If it's been within the last 3 years or so, yeah, it's gotten pretty rough now. And like the last time we went, it was on 4th of July weekend, and we were sitting on the rooftop at Alfred's. It's like in this intersection, and there's a big group of, it was all black people in this one intersection here. And then everybody just starts running in different directions. We're all like, what the hell? And about that time, the largest firework I've ever seen in my life explodes in the middle of this intersection.
That sounds like a party. It sounds
I
fun.
know. It was terrifying. The police come running in, and about 3 seconds later, at the next intersection, it happens again. The biggest firework you've ever seen in your life
This
explodes,
sounds like some hood rat shit, man. This is
and
fun.
people are running in every
You say it's
direction.
terrifying. See, I find this hilarious.
Yeah,
Continue.
it was terrifying. The people are running every. The police finally just stopped. They just stood in the intersection. Fireworks are going off or on top of buildings, intersections. The police are not even responding to it anymore. I'm like, oh, this is how I die right here on Bill Street. Like, it's just not fun anymore.
You
Like we're
thought
getting.
fireworks were going to take your life?
I thought it looked like a bomb going off. It had to be the biggest firework I've ever. A human person could carry underneath. Like that's the thing is there's checkpoints to get in Bill Street, and people still got massive fireworks in on Bill Street, and they get guns on Bill Street now. And they tried to do like $5, $10 to get in, and it doesn't stop anything. And it's so yeah, we I just like we're getting older now too, but still, I definitely don't want to go down there when there's shootings every weekend on Bill
And you
Street.
don't really remember that, is what you're saying. You don't remember a time period that growing up was like that. It changed.
Yeah, I mean definitely. Uh, I don't know. It just feels like
I feel like it changed with, I feel like you were saying, everybody was kind of getting along really well there. And then when Obama went and ran for president, it definitely like visually on everyone's mind popped up as black person running
yes,
for
I don't.
president.
Yeah, I guess maybe I wasn't plugged in at that time because I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like it was like that. It really feels like it's ramped up to me in like the last.
No, I'm saying that's where it first started happening, and then you had the Obama era, and then Trump is really what fired it up. I
Oh
mean, the
yeah, that
silent
definitely.
majority. He fired
Yeah,
up the silent majority like you never seen before.
yeah,
The greatest quote ever is not all Trump supporters are racist, but all racists are Trump supporters. Like, and that's fucking facts,
yeah.
guys. I don't know too many races that don't have Trump support all over their Facebook and they love it. It don't matter because he didn't and he's not even racist. I'm not even saying he is, but
Yeah.
some of the rhetoric he has is very racist based.
Well, I mean, it's pulled out. It's pulled out racism on both sides. I mean,
Right, because he's so extreme, it makes the other side react.
yeah, and so like it just feels like it's amplified it. I remember not even knowing what a Democrat and Republican was. Like I had no
Right.
clue what any of
Yeah,
that
he
stuff
engaged
was.
the silent majority into politics, really.
And now like I know too much. I mean, I won't say I'm a genius, but I know the basic understandings of it. I don't want to know any of that shit anymore. I'm like, this is just too much, just ridiculous. Like we're planting our flag in the ground, or planting our flag in the ground, and this is my side. This is my side. If you're not on my side, then you're the evil one, and it's just way too much for me. Like,
Well, and I think the reason that it works so well, these examples or influencers of everything's an influence, by the way. It doesn't have to be a social media influencer. It could be anything that you watch, listen to. All of it's an influence. Music's an influence. Movies is an influence. All of it. So anything that you take in, witness, see, hear, feel is somewhat of an influence on how you act and what you're going to be. So it kind of works in the way I think that it's because we don't go outside anymore. We don't get when I was a kid growing up, you were outside, you rode your bike, even in the ghettos, you got in fights, you dealt with the community around you daily. Neighbors knew neighbors. There wasn't no phone and internet or anything to occupy you. If you wanted to experience life, you had to go out and experience it.
like,
And I feel like now that we're so separated into technology, the COVID era did a really good job. We're so separated on a daily basis from actually interacting with people besides our little bubble that the screens have us in. that we're not able to be smart or as smart as we used to be, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I think social media too put it all at our fingertips. We don't have to go search for the news anymore or what we think is the news. It's just right there. As soon as we pull up X, like that's all your feed is
Well,
news.
and that's the other problem is since we don't interact with one another, whatever the TV tells us a certain person that looks a certain way,
Yeah,
acts a certain way, whatever that TV tells us they are, that's what they are because we have no personal experience. We
yeah.
only have what
Well,
they tell us.
because like if you go on X and they have that it's was it the For You tab? They got the For You tab, which is kind of like stuff you've clicked on or watched, and they got the following tab, which is just people you follow. So you just get the people you follow. You click on For You, say like I clicked on Tim Pool. Well, then I start getting these political posts, and it's funny to watch the right and the left be in your For You tab, and you get to see
Mhm.
how okay Trump does this. Well, everybody on the right's like best move ever, best move ever, best move ever. The left is like this is stupid, this is stupid, this is dumb, this is going to get us
They
into this
play
into
the
that.
division tactic.
And so like it depends, like whoever you're following, whatever side you're following is going to tell you that we're right, we're the right ones.
And then
Like
it's also going to show you how the other side is telling you you're dumb, you're wrong, you're an idiot.
you're
So it
wrong.
forces you into picking a side and hating and liking. It's an emotional psyop.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like it's impossible to weed through what's true anymore.
Well, and
Like
it's religion. Politics is the newest religion.
oh yeah,
I think people lack religious belief. It's all make believe. Science has made you believe that God doesn't exist. I mean, they got so many theories of where we came from and shit, and so people still have the one thing that's always been in the human genetic. It seems is the worship tendency. We
mhm,
have something in us that wants to worship, idolize, believe in. We want some 10 commandments, for example. We
mhm,
want that. And I think that the people who don't have that in a religious faith, an actual one, have now migrated into politics. So now
mhm.
politics is your Bible. And whatever side you're on is the angels and God and Jesus and their disciples, and whatever's against you
Yeah,
is the devil and the demons and Lucifer and all these things, and that's it plays it very well, and the ideologies are very similar. Um, and it's like so Trump is a a savior, and his cabinet is the disciples,
mhm.
and I feel like that they're playing off that worship emotion that is in us. I don't know why it is, but religion's one of the oldest things we've ever done.
Yeah, it's definitely it feels very it's very effective. Like whatever these things they've been putting on TV and on the internet has worked because it's literally broken people's brains to
Hmm.
where they're never going to recover. They're never going to come back and 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 like mellow back out. Like their brains are broken and there's no fixing
Right.
it. Like it's been very successful and that's kind of terrifying. Like how long have they been working on our brains to, brainwash us and to break us down like they have, to society breakdown. Um,
Right. For you to hate somebody you've never even spoke to.
yeah, yeah. Or if I put on if you ask me who'd you vote for and I'm like, oh, I voted for Trump, you automatically hate me. You don't know anything about me, you automatically hate me. Or if I voted for Kamala, well, you're an idiot, you're stupid, you don't have any common sense. It's like it's broke us down, and I really don't know how you come back from it. I don't see us ever coming back together.
Now, I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of, and one of the reasons I like being in Dallas is I deal with multiculturals. And I've talked about this actually in Australia. I remember being on an hour and a half train ride, going from Sydney to Albion Park. I was staying with Steve Kant, who has passed away. But I had a discussion for about that whole hour and a half, and I feel like there's a lot of people. I feel like the new silent majority is regular people who are talking
Mhm,
like me and you right now.
mhm.
We're
Yeah,
looking at this shit like, what the fuck is
yeah,
going
yeah,
on? I mean, there's a lot of us out there, I think,
yeah.
believe it or
It,
not. Like you say, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But I feel like that TV is only showing you little pieces of extremism so that the show stays entertaining and wraps you into the drama and you keep
Yeah,
clicking and making money. They're making money on your mind. They call
yeah.
it your data, but
But
liking and paying attention to this stuff is how they make a living.
yeah,
That's how that industry makes a living.
and it's also like on X, for instance, a couple of like right wing accounts here recently got exposed. They took money. I forgot what the issue was they were posting about, but they were all posting very similar posts. There was some pretty popular right wing accounts that influence people, but they were supposed to be the morally sound ones, but they were the ones taking the money, making the post to put their influence out there. That's kind of what leads into the brainwashing of the right side. The left side, they do the same thing. They get paid to post these things. They know nothing about them, but they get paid to post it, and so they post it, and
Right.
then that influences the people. You know.
Right.
So how do
Well,
you stop that?
and I think they do a lot of these things to just keep us stupid because if
Yeah,
we ever woke up one day and been like, so we bring in how much money in
yeah,
taxes or whatever,
I
and we
know.
can't afford free healthcare. Why
Yeah,
not? You
yeah,
know,
like, um,
why
like
not? Australia has free healthcare. They got a tenth of the population.
I think a lot of people are beginning to wake up, but
Why is there
really,
poisons in the food?
but
I mean, I'm
yeah,
just
and it's
saying.
like I said, even if I do, we get millions of people to wake up. Okay, well, what do you do? Am I gonna go, you know, hold the politicians hostage? Like,
Yeah, what can you
what
do?
do you
That's
what
the
do you
sad
do?
part.
You
They're
know,
just so powerful that there
yeah,
is really
like
no.
you can't rise up against them. Like, it's just kind of what they decide is what it's going to be, and that's just kind of what it is. There's nothing you can
Well,
really do
and that
about
is the hope that the vote does matter.
it. Yeah,
As much leniency or
but
worry that
still,
we think. I mean, and I think local and state politics is very important too.
that's the problem is nobody
Nobody pays
understands
attention
that.
to them. Yeah,
Nobody understands that. They just think
yeah. If they vote for Trump, it's right
Trump
wing
can
all the
get it
way, red
to
all
get
the
it in
way.
there. But like the House and all that, like when these midterms come up, if if you don't go out and vote, like say you voted for Trump, you think this is what it's got to be. Well, you got to go out in the midterms and you got to vote red in the midterms. If you don't go out and vote and all the blue goes out and votes, well, then you're going to lose all these House seats. Well,
Well,
then
and then at the
nothing gets
same
done.
time, you don't really need to see if they're red or blue. You need to go see what these people are
Well,
standing
yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah.
You don't
Um,
want to just vote red all the way down because you're a Trump supporter. Because
yeah. It's just, well, yeah. I don't want to almost, never mind.
what did you almost say? Did you almost say ninja or something?
No, no, you said, go look through, but at this point in time, there's no way I could vote for anything blue. Like, they're just insane. So,
There's some blue that's actually commonsensical that criticizes the
yeah,
blue.
but they won't let them through. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, if the vote
They'll
matters, I
they'll
mean, if
shut. I'm saying, but the party will shut them out. That's
I
the
think
problem.
local, I think when it comes to local, you got a chance. But yeah, when you get to state, you may get lucky with some state seats and stuff. But yeah, I mean, when you get to the governor seats and all that, I think that is when the system starts barking back at you a little bit
Mhm.
on what you can and cannot do.
Yeah, so it's like you know, you you feel like, I don't know, you feel powerless to it. It's like we're just kind of here, and whatever they say is what it's going to be, and you take it, and you like it, pretty much.
Well, and then who's in control? I mean,
Yeah,
it seems
that's
like the military is in control of us. I think we're kind of like the bully that owes everybody money, but nobody can come kick our ass and claim it.
yeah.
That's really what it seems like. But then our debts is for being the beat up guy for the bully. It's like we're
Mm.
Balboa, we're a collector. Um, you think of like Australia's government. I was thinking about that. Like who runs theirs? And it's honestly, I was thinking of the healthcare deal. New Zealand and Australia, it's odd, honestly. Like I was in Australia and somebody's daughter got sick and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to I forgot what they call them. They don't call them pharmacies, but to the doctor. I think they just call them doctors or something." And they just walk in to like a store and walk up and say, "Hey, my throat hurts or my foot looks like it's broke or whatever." And they just walk around the do like they inspect them right there and then like diagnose them like for free. Like you just show them your citizenship card and you get like taken care of like instantly, whatever's wrong. Where we would have to go to the hospital or something if something's
Yeah.
severely wrong. But I did notice that whatever was wrong with anybody, there was a pill for them. So I was thinking like, okay, so there has to be contracts for whoever's making all these fucking pills.
Mm.
And that's probably the biggest industry in the fucking country is the scientific medical industry that runs their system, which is why when COVID happened, New Zealand and Australia went the highest degree because
Yeah.
who pays y'all's fucking bills? You know,
Well, you know, I seen something like a meme or whatever saying that we can clone. What is I forgot what the wolf is called.
they brought it back. They
Yeah,
de-extinct or whatever.
yeah, like we can bring this wolf back, but we can't cure cancer. Like we definitely can cure cancer, but it's a $1 billion industry, so we will never release it. You will die, and you will just like
If you're a Rothschild, you get one. If you're a Trump, you'll get one.
Certain people for sure, yeah, but
And you can't tell anyone about it.
Nah, yeah, you know, it's like a $1 billion industry, so we're never going to release it. We're never going to put it out there. You know, you just have to go take your chemo or radiation or whatever you got to do, and any other methods will shoot them down, tell you you're stupid, and any try to holistic method will tell you that this is wrong, dangerous, all that other stuff. And like it's like here in Memphis, we have a whole hospital dedicated to cancer research. So you put the cure out for cancer. Well, what happens with all this hospitals and this money?
Yeah, where's the money for the research? So it's almost a money embezzlement scheme.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. We're building buildings and employing people. Like what happens to all those people? Like, you know, it's just.
Yeah, I'd like to see the DOGE or whatever go looking into the medical industry. That could be an interesting circle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, but, you know, we're just little peons out here.
Right. Trying to make the show with the Outlaws.
Yeah. Everybody else is, the broke Joes are just kicking around the little peons down here.
Oh, God. I guess you got to get out of here then.
Yeah, I probably need to go ahead and get to bed so I can actually get to work on time and get my stuff knocked out. So, but I appreciate you having me on. It was fun. And I just look forward to that text message from Broke Joe.
I'm going to read it on the show. I'm going to read it on the fucking show. It is tomorrow night, right? Or
Yeah, tomorrow and Saturday. So.
Tomorrow and Saturday. Tomorrow's the cold night.
Yeah, we'll freeze our asses off tomorrow. I think Saturday is only like 65 degrees, so it's going to be cold Saturday too. So,
well, Broke Joe's going to be watching.
I know it's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
Good thing you ain't Tanner Holmes. You know.
Well, I mean, Tanner Holmes is starting to show out now. So
yeah, and the Tarleton car. It's like Broke Joe's worst nightmare. The Tarleton car and Tanner Holmes.
So we'll kind of go back to that, like, real quick. So, like, my whole thing with Tanner has always been, you know, he didn't come from a racing family. They've been trying to like figure it out together. And I've always thought if he got with a team that had a crew chief and all he had to do was worry about driving, I thought he would be really good. And so far, that's been shown to be the fact of the matter of it all. Is because you come into racing, like I was lucky enough when I started racing that my dad had raced for 20 something years. And so we were able to he knew how to set a car up and things like that. So I had that luxury to where Tanner Holmes, they were just trying to figure it out on the fly pretty much. And that's a big thing is getting your car where it's good and knowing how to get it there.
So well, and imagine if somebody took over the 1A Shark car and went quick time and ran third first try. Yeah, like it would have been if it wasn't Tanner Holmes, he would have got so much credit being just some random guy, you know, doing that.
And see, and that was another thing he got with the Shark Racing, the tracks that Jacob ran good at, where they had a good notebook for it. Tanner was always fast, but the tracks where Jacob didn't run good, they didn't have a great notebook. He never was really that good. That's like at the Jackson Nationals, for instance. Jacob ran good there all the time, so they had a good notebook. So they probably just took that stuff, put it to the car. Tanner Holmes was fast. So, I mean, there's a lot of it is just learning how to set the cars up to be fast. You have to know how to do that.
Right. So. Well, all right. We won't keep you any longer.
All right. Well, I'll try not to let you down tomorrow night.
All right, we'll see if Broke Joe calls.
All right, I'll holler at you later.
We'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Bye.
Bye. Oh no, he's gone. Did you enjoy the call? I don't know. Did we enjoy the call? Do we open up the phone lines? Is Broke Joe gonna call? Is anybody gonna call? Oh, Dank's filled up the chat room. It cost me $2,000 to put some tires on my crunk Uncle Joe or under Joe. Don't know what that means. Chaz, can you ask Broke Joe about Paige Burschers? I don't know who that is. Can we have Brad as a regular? I like him. Maybe. We'll see. Call Broke Joe. Broke Joe don't have nothing to say. He don't have nothing to say. Callum might call. Broke Joe and Callum don't have nothing to say. I don't know. Should we do it? Should we do it, guys? Oh, no. We're opening up the Pandora's box to be up till 1 a.m. I really didn't want to do that. It's already 11:30. We've been live for 2 hours on the a little over the dot. And y'all want to do live callers? Like, what is wrong with you people? We'll try it. Numbers on the screen. 423-616-7673. Will Broke Joe call? Will Broke Joe call? The number's open. I mean, we're not holding it back here. We're waiting for the call. Let them call, Chaz. Hey, that's what I'm saying. I'm not running after Broke Joe. I'm not running after Broke Joe. I don't need Broke Joe on the show to keep people talking. We got Colin, we got Callum. I'd be down to call. It's 9:35 in CA. See? California, it's early. Living on that West Coast time, Broke Joe could call if he wanted to. Call Tony Stewart. That's not how it works. Okay, I guess nobody's going to call. It's fine. Maybe Broke Joe will be on the show tomorrow night. Since we're not going to the track, we will be live here tomorrow night post-race. And Broke Joe says he doesn't get on the show until late at night, so tomorrow night we'll get to have Brad. This is what's happening. Since nobody's calling, we're gonna close it. We're gonna close it right now. We're gonna close it. Nobody's calling, so we're closing the calling app right now. It's done. But Broke Joe is open when he doesn't have to go to work the next day. And Brad Bowden will be racing tomorrow night. And we can go live with Broke Joe reacting to we don't even need he don't need a text message. We don't need text messages, Broke Joe. We need a live show with your reaction to what Brad Bowden does. Now that's pressure. Because now not only is Bowden going to the track, he knows that we're going to be reviewing his Friday night at I-55. And Broke Joe's not going to text me about it. He's going to say it live on the show tomorrow. Because usually we can get Broke Joe on a Friday. And we'll try to make this happen. Brad Bowden's review from Broke Joe, a bunch of things potentially to talk about. I-55 can get rough and tumbly. We will be live here tomorrow night. It looks like with Broke Joe at least. I'm gonna say we can get that done. It's been a minute since he's been okay. We'll see if he comes on. We'll see. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to the show. It is we are gonna go ahead and get out of here for the evening. Once again, be sure to go check out the new song, "Cause I'm Bad." Just type it in, "Cause I'm Bad," the Chaz, on all your music streaming platforms, and check out the new song that is out. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it around. And as always, we will catch you next time. And also, hey, think about clicking the membership button, going to longlivethechaz.com, getting you a Ginger Kitty shirt or a late model princess shirt. We also have the PayPal, Venmo links, and Cash App link in the description if you'd like to join the support of the program. But until tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, we will catch y'all next time.
Ready to rip, ready to in the goal. Peace with the soul, don't matter the bottle with what you believe. Cause if I'm taking it all and the calling is harder with nothing that's harder than free. Not giving up, no, don't trip, gotta go. Take a slip, make a pass in the low. Put it down the gas for a show. Slide a pass in the grass for the OPO. Got first, never last for the oh no. To the pass of the glass of the foe. Cause I'm gonna pass all you cowards with ease. And when them speeding demons come, we don't feast with the beast and the evil hunting lust. Burn your cheeks when I speak with my real passion, love. Turning all your tricks against you cause you want it only.